Hey, it's David from Machinery Partner. Today we're having a training with the team in Florida. We're going to be talking through how a jaw crusher works, featuring one of our best-selling machines, the Barford 750J. Before we start, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the Machinery Partner YouTube channel. That way, you won't miss out on any of our how-to, case studies, and machine review videos. All right, let's jump right in.
All jaw crushers are pretty much the same. So it's like two plates, one static, one moving, right? Motion is created by sort of a cam, like an offset shaft that causes it to move in and out, move in and out. And you have a big flywheel to create momentum, to keep the thing moving. Without it, it would just bog out when it's crushing. So that thing creates momentum to keep it moving, just like you have a flywheel on a car. And so that's a heavy piece of mass. It's pretty simple, but what the customer, to get down to these sizes, they have to open and close the jaw to get to different sizes. If this was a primary crusher, you'd open it up and just let big material get into like 6-inch to 4-inch sizes, and then you put a secondary crusher after it. These right here are pistons that push wedges in and out to close that gap. Just think of like a triangle. When you pull it out, this thing will open up, right? You push it in, they'll close up. The spring that you see in there is to push that moving jaw all the way closed all the time, right? And it has to have tension on it. If there was no spring, the thing would just flop around, right? And then there's a safety device in there called the toggle, which is a plate, and it's a fuse, just like in electronics. Like if you overload the circuit, your fuse blows, right? This is the same idea. If you overload that jaw and put like a heavy piece of metal, like a manhole cover through there, it's not gonna crush. So rather than destroying the machine, you destroy the sacrificial toggle fuse or toggle plate. And what happens is it bends or it breaks, and it typically bends. And then your machine has to be repaired. But you've saved the entire drivetrain. You haven't destroyed the engine. You haven't destroyed the hydraulics that move the thing.
And typically, how a customer knows, oh, I have a bent toggle fuse or a broken toggle fuse, he's not getting down to the size he wants. He usually wants 3/4, and he's not making 3/4 anymore. That's a telltale sign.
All jaw crushers basically have this stuff. Some have features like our Arc brand. These are electronically adjusted, where like you use hydraulics to move the jaws in and out. On this one, you have to do it manually with wrenches, and it's kind of a pain, but it's simpler and there's less things to break. There's hydraulic pistons for toggle fuses in like the most advanced machines. Those are like $1 million machines. That's about just efficiency, right? If you break it, you can reset the cylinder, but it's all pretty much the same. And then the plates that crush, those are wearable items. Those wear out after 200 hours, 500 hours, 1,000 hours, depending on the material you're crushing. The chamber needs to be packed to a certain amount so that you get pressure, and the jaw is running and just really pushing the material down through a funnel. First function is the hopper. The second function is the jaw chamber doing the crushing. There's a third function on this, which is the fines, if you want to get that sand out. And then there's two more functions on the front of the machine. The important one is the primary conveyor that's pulling the material out and dumping it into the screener where we sort. There's also an overband magnet. If you guys realize, when you're recycling concrete, there's a lot of metal in it, right? Reinforcement bar, wire, and that's like insidious. And so you want to get that off. So there's an overband magnet that's running to pull the material off. And you notice that they had a bin over there that's pulling the metal off into that bin. And you want that out, because if it's in the material, like it's contaminated, it's not worth as much. It also can ruin the machines. Those pieces of metal can rip belts, so you want it off the machine. So good operators are always looking around, like pulling metal off, because that wire will rip things. When we sell this machine, we sell it standard with the magnet. So that's the high level of this machine. The way that this is run is, this is a hybrid. This is like the Toyota Prius of equipment. We have a 60 horsepower diesel engine running a generator, so it's electric powered. You could plug this directly into the grid if you wanted to. So this machine is pretty efficient with just a 60 horsepower motor. It's also very quiet compared to a lot of other machines. So it's a nice kind of feature, this hybrid. And then everything is run either electric or hydraulic. So the hydraulics on this machine are to raise and lower the conveyor, to open and close the jaw. The hydraulics also run those tracks to move it around. but everything else is electric. So you see there's an electric motor on the end of that conveyor. That's pulling the conveyor, so that electric motor. There's a big electric drive motor driving the jaw chamber. So there's a lot of electric functions that make this efficient and uses the genset on this to do it. When we sell against other big machines, you'll hear all hydraulics, right? Those are simple machines people like, but they're also more costly to run. You could have a hydraulic motor powering that belt, but that draws power, so you need a bigger engine.